let's press go. You ready?
Yeah, steady, go.
Steady. Oh,
Steady as
should
she
I move my
goes.
face a little bit? Maybe, so
If you
it's
like.
in
I'm
line
not
with
I'm not in charge of your face.
your face. Got to make it
Ah,
perfect.
yes. Line up
Perfection.
those faces.
There you go. That looks more perfect. Maybe it's not. Welcome everybody. It's time for the show of the week that we have been changing the time a bit too often.
Ah, yes. The show that you never know when it comes.
That's what she said. Anyway, what we're going to talk
Giggity.
about today, we've got huge news. Welcome to the state of the beans.
Talk.
We're getting there. We're going to get quicker. We're going to get snappier.
You
Uh,
know what happens though, because there's a delay
oh, is
now
there?
that we're online. Yeah. There's like a couple of second delay. So like when you finish a sentence and I start talking,
Yeah.
it looks like I'm just a little bit challenged, but really I'm just but really it's just the audio.
Are you a little bit challenged today? Because I'm a little bit
Most
challenged
days.
today. I've been
Yeah,
sick all day.
gotta stop eating out of that garbage can,
I
man.
know it's not anything to do with the human malware. It's a stomach thing today, and
Yeah.
let's just say Vomitron 3000 was a robot in my body today. But so I'm a bit slow, but Casper here is gonna be taking the show's reins today, and he's gonna be the life of the party.
Gonna be the Rain Man. Gonna do my best.
G'day Nathaniel, g'day Hammy. Good to see you guys. We've got some really interesting news for you today. Um, we've got Nvidia news. We've got Ratchet and Clank news. We've got Wall
Wall
news.
news.
I love it. I love it. I want to hear about it. We've got Doge Coin news, of course.
Doge coins.
How's
Yes.
your Doge Coins going?
Oh, bro, skyrocketing
To the
in
moon?
the opposite direction. Wah,
to
wah.
to hell or on Earth?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And we've got some MLB news. Is that the
MLB
basketball
the
game?
Show. Nah, that's the baseball game.
Oh, there
You're
you
thinking
go.
about NBA.
They're all three letters of something, and it's
Yeah,
very
Major League
American.
Baseball. So MLB.
And don't tell me it's the World Series when they do like a national competition.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it
I
is.
don't, is it like because baseball is it played anywhere else in the world?
No, but I think they call it the World Series. Somebody can correct us in the
Oh, right.
comments.
Nice
And
one.
we're gonna hopefully this will be the last week of being at home because obviously
Quarantine edition.
Quarantine Edition is going to be over. The season is over. The show is over for
Yeah.
now. There might be a rerun soon. We don't know. We don't know. But Mark McGowan's going to lift it. And what I'm going to do at the same time as Mark McGowan lifts it is I'm going to play the intro so we can get started.
Woohoo.
I'm sure one day somebody's going to ask us who Steve Stevenson is and John Johnson, but maybe that's a
Yes.
history lesson for another day.
It's one of the wonders of the world.
All right, let's jump into the first topic. Nvidia.
All right, what are you hitting us with? Nvidia? Ooh,
Yeah,
we're hitting the techie tech
tell me
techs.
all about it.
Right. Well, I think it's as simple as the title states, which Nvidia is bringing back old RTX 2060 and GTX 1050 Ti GPUs to be able to cope with the global chip shortage. As we know, we have heard statements from both AMD, Nvidia, and obviously the consoles that are following on from that as well, that being the PlayStation and the Xbox,
Yeah.
that there's a huge chip shortage up until middle of this year. So we're looking up until June or July before we actually get a lot more shipments coming in. So probably the second half of the year is where we can see more stock coming in. So people can start buying these GPUs and consoles, which will probably get purchased by the scalpers anyway. So
Yeah, that's incredible how quickly these cards are disappearing from the shelves. Like even in Australia,
so quickly. You
Because
know what? Sorry, I was just going to say I was extremely surprised I
yeah,
got my hands on a 3070.
were you?
Yeah,
I think
because
I think I know why.
why?
Because the 3070 isn't a particularly good mining card.
Oh,
Because the
interesting.
3060 Ti is cheaper and performs better because you can lower the voltages and crank out less power. Apparently the
Yeah, so it's
3070
more
is
efficient.
is in a weird spot. It's a gaming card.
It is. Yeah, you're right. It is in a strange spot. But so like I saw it on PLE and I thought, oh, there's stock of this one in particular as well, the Asus one, because
Yeah.
um you obviously know that there's the higher quality of components and stuff. So you were the one to sell me on the Asus brand to
Wow, what a
begin with.
salesperson. Hey Asus,
What a salesperson. Yeah, yeah.
where's my cut?
Patrick working for Asus. And so I was really convinced to pick up that card. And lo and behold, I had a look at PLE like the very next day, and most, if not all, the 3070s were pretty much out of stock.
Apart from that one.
Well, no, that one was gone. That was gone in an instant.
Oh,
It's
so
no
you
longer in
managed to
stock.
get one and then it disappeared.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, either they had really low stock or people saw it on that weekend as well and were like, oh my God, there's stock. And they all
Wow.
bought it as well. So,
That's yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I think these prices being shown here are US prices because I don't think you can get any of these cards for under $1,000. I mean, 2060 for 799 USD. That's expensive.
What, 799 for a 2060?
Yeah.
No, that's got to be Australian dollars because what is it? The 3070 is like 599. I think 599 US dollars. Because remember when the 3080 was announced by Jensen, it was 699 US dollars.
Yeah, that was Aussie pricing. It must have converted on the website.
Yeah.
Look, you
But a
got
2060, do you think there's
760.
anybody in chat or in the crowd that would be willing to invest in any of these cards?
I just don't know why you would. When the 30 well, how much did you pay for your 3070?
So I paid $1,200 for the
Oh,
3070.
that is actually a big jump.
It's a lot of bucks,
Wow.
right?
I thought it was $1,000. For some reason I kept thinking it's $1,000.
I think there are models you can get for around 1,000 in a 3070. But yeah, Asus obviously they got like the premium price for the premium components and performance. And oh my God, Patrick, this card
Yeah.
is so quiet. It's just silent.
Has it I think it's got the silent fans, right? Was it the tough version?
It is the tough version. It's the OC version.
Yeah.
And so it stays really cool as well. Not only super quiet, but super cool.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. They're really good. They've got it's a large card, like for a 370. That's actually a really large card.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're quite nice and quite quiet. Like when I had my
Oh, it is, yeah.
3090 from Zotac, it was actually quite. It would turn off fans when it wasn't like using anything, so it was quite quiet. But when it
Wow.
ramped up, it was quite loud, unfortunately. So yeah, it is what it is. So are you happy with your purchase, or would you have like
I am. You know what?
yeah,
I'm very happy with my purchase. I feel like this is kind of like a stepping stone, like to get me going. I feel like for the next few years,
okay,
gaming wise, I'm going to stick to that 1080 1440p with some high frame rates. And I know that I won't be buying too many games on PC because I've got my PlayStation 5 and I also have a limited time like most people
sure.
nowadays. So I'll be sticking to that PS5 gameplay.
So with
And so many cool titles coming
yeah,
out on there as well. So
well with that in mind, like basically the shortages have obviously affected PlayStation 5 also, but not so they haven't actually ramped up production, so they're not going to be ramping it up to try and fit that in. They're not changing any production like rates at all. I don't know if that's what you heard, but that's what I heard. They're not changing any production rates.
so are they're not going to ramp it up
No, they're
with
going to
the
keep it the same because I'm pretty sure they've got this weird. They've worked out the cost, right? If they
yeah.
overproduce and don't sell, they're going to be in a real bad way. Right now, they're at this like precipice where they're kind of like they're maintaining their like yield. The demand is
Yeah.
high, and once it starts dropping, they're going to be in a really good financial spot. because there's
Oh, that's
demand for it.
interesting.
There's nothing else. What do you choose? You've got Xbox or PlayStation 5. That's it. Like there's no consoles to choose from because PC gaming's so expensive and everything's out of stock. Like there's just
Yeah.
nothing to choose. G'day Rob,
Yeah,
g'day
you're
Time
right.
to Fly, g'day Yogi Bear. JMO, first time watching the stream. Welcome. Didn't realize 2 weeks has passed. Yeah, it went really quickly. Adam
I know,
says,
thank God.
hi guys, Yogi Bear says you can still get the two Asus 3070s in eastern states, but not in WA. I'm surprised eastern states hadn't
Oh.
picked it up quicker. Like they're a bigger
Yeah,
population.
same.
Pokewood Theatre says, when is Google pulling out of Australia? Good question. When do they stop screwing
Oh.
us? I don't know.
You know what? I think that's going to be a really, really long process. Like we're talking like it's going to be a huge impact for Australia in terms of a lot of its businesses. Like not probably for the general population because we did that Bing Google test the other day.
Yeah,
But I reckon for a lot of businesses, it's going to be huge. Therefore, there's going to be
advertising.
a lot of negotiation. Yeah, it's going to take months and months. I mean, when you even think about a court case like with the Dallas Buyers Club.
Oh
Do
my
you
God.
remember that court case here
Yes.
in Australia that could have opened up a floodgate if it actually went through? So, if any of you guys don't know, Dallas Buyers Club is a movie, an American movie, and it was pirated here in Australia by several hundred people, thousands probably. And for some reason, I think it was the distributor of the movie or the
Yeah.
license owners.
Distributor, yeah. Or
Yeah,
yeah.
they picked up several IPs. No, not several, several hundred IPs that actually pirated the movies here. I think they had like a list of 500 IP addresses. Um, and they wanted that information specifically from Australia, from the internet providers.
IONET
Uh,
specifically.
it, it went to the court, and the judge essentially refused. He's like, "I'm not giving out this information. This is private information." So it
Yeah.
was essentially case closed. And then if
Because
they,
they couldn't
yeah,
they couldn't prove that because they were going to be like, oh, we're going to invoice them because they've
yeah, oh,
downloaded.
there it is.
But he called it
Yeah,
like speculative invoicing, and he couldn't prove, like they couldn't prove to them that they're not going to speculatively invoice people who might be innocent. And so
correct.
they were given like I think 60 or 90 days to like prove, like submit to the judge, and they never did because what happened was the amount of money that they could get back from the people was less that at that point would have been less than the amount they paid for the court case to go through.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Because I can see in that article that you were just showing us that there's a few thousand IP addresses that they identified, something close to around 5,000. And they said they were going to hit him up for a few $100s a head,
Yeah,
right? You're looking at like 150 grand to 200,000, and because the court case was dragging on for so long,
correct.
the fees versus, like you said, the actual reward was just not worth it for them.
Yeah, because the judge was going to force them here to only seek the cost of purchasing the movie legally. So it would have been only
Yeah,
instead of they were like asking for like thousands of dollars like they do in America. So they speculatively
yeah,
invoice people in America all the time. But on this round, they were just going to get like $15-20 per person. So it was
yeah.
just insane. Like the judge, I swear, probably downloaded Teller's Buyers Club. He's like,
Yeah, the judge looked
yeah,
at it. He's
nah.
like, "I'm on the list. Let's cancel this."
That looks awfully like my IP address.
Yeah, yeah. I need to have a word with my son. If like it wasn't him, like
Yeah.
whoops. Because
Um,
that was the other thing, like because IP address is shared between so many members in the family, then
well, it goes to the
or
house,
what if
right? The connection has one
yeah,
IP address, and it gets
yeah,
recycled every so often. And
yeah,
unless you've got obviously a static IP, but then in the house, you can have hundreds of connections, and it still goes through that one like gateway, the gateway IP. So
exactly.
you could be living in a share house and somebody could download and because you're the owner of the thing, you get shafted, you know? So,
Yeah.
Ethnic says, hey fellas, top vid on Starlink. Pat, yours and Linus Tech Tips vid were he tested it were awesome. Oh, thumbs up. Thanks for that, Eth. I was just going to answer Yogi Bear said what the yield goes up. So when PlayStation manufacturers, so AMD manufactures the chips for the for the PlayStations. And actually, I want to talk about something,
Yeah.
Casper. They have
Yeah,
a
man.
yield of how many they build, and then goes through to PlayStation, and how much they actually get out of that. So they might send 1,000 units to Sony. Sony's like, oh yeah, but they failed. Q800 only got through, so they failed. So the yield, as they get better at building more, the yield goes up, and hence they don't want to bust out really crazy production, because
Yeah.
technically speaking, they could continue this level of production, improve the rate of the yield, and have more products being built. It's this weird balance. Like you can produce more, but you could have a high failure rate, right? Or you could lower your failure rate and have more, but still produce the same amount. Anyway, I didn't mean to get into that, but
Yeah, no, it's a really good point that you make as well. And this is probably one of the reasons why over time of the console, over the life cycle of the console, it becomes cheaper and it
correct,
actually starts to become profitable for the company. So
correct.
yeah,
I expect like a
absolutely.
PlayStation Slim, like 5 very soon, like in the next 2-3 years. Once that like manufacturing process gets better and better, I think we'll get smaller ones, same performance, and probably same price. I think. I don't think the price will go down. That's why I think Sony will make a bit of money on it, because they are losing money right now on every PlayStation. That's why they don't want to lose more money by producing more, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's that fine balance between, okay, we'll create some, we'll wait for the software sales, then we'll create some more so they can keep putting money back into the till. It's like that recycling process.
Yeah. Oh, and
Yeah.
Pog says Mwave's starting to get some stock, but I think it was Pog last week who mentioned that you know, the Nvidia GeForce streaming thing, it's going to be
Yeah.
hosted by Pentanet, but you can be any user in WA and subscribe to it.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to give it a
Okay.
go. I'm really excited.
Yeah, man. I'll be keen to hear how that goes.
Yeah, and I got a new modem today from TP-Link, which I will be reviewing, and my speed, like, I got an extra 10 megs down. So I'm at 105 now.
Really, just because of the modem.
Just because it was 95 on the SUS, and now it's 110 just by switching out the modem. I was so
Oh,
happy.
that's impressive. Wow. Yeah, I'm really happy with the modem that I have. What do I have
I
actually?
think you got a TP-Link.
I got a TP-Link. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm happy because I'm on 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on 50. Yeah, I'm on 50 and I'm getting like 55, I think.
Yeah, they did this thing like they uh over
Overclocked edition.
pretty much. They overclocked it. So
Yeah,
NBN overclocked the connections.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Dang.
Nathan says they only losing money on the digital editions. I think that's
Okay,
actually
yeah,
the
that
only.
could be a good point. Yeah, because there's a lot less of them in the wild. That is a good point, and I think they're making up just that little bit with the disk drive editions because of how the pricing worked out. So like they rounded it up.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, oh, it costs us 480 to produce. We'll sell at 500 and they're making a buck, right?
Right.
Whereas the other one is like, oh, it's costing us 420 to produce, but we'll sell it at 400. So now we're losing money on these ones.
Right, right. I actually,
Yeah.
I actually thought that was the one that makes them more money, because it's online only buying of games, so they can't even buy a
You're
diskette.
right. Yeah, yeah. The outcome is that they'll be making more money on those in the long run. And I think that they'll see that like a few years down the line, they'll
Yeah,
be like, well, wow, these are the money makers. So then they'll produce probably a lot more digital editions as time goes on. So
yeah.
beware, maybe there's going to be less disk drive editions. So if you want a disk drive edition, get one early on.
And one of the things, just coming back to the topic, the 1050 Ti, I had a laptop with a 1050 Ti a long time ago. Like, but I bought it from America actually when I was over there, and I was like, I need a gaming laptop, so I just bought one straight away,
Yeah.
and it was great. Like, it played games and stuff. I even overclocked the screen to be like 90 hertz or something. It was great. Good little
Are you
laptop.
serious?
Yeah, yeah.
1050 Ti. I think 1050 and I'm like, wow, that is a cut down GPU chip.
But I'm wondering why it's become so popular. And all I can think of is media PCs, or like very small gaming PCs that are gonna only play like Dota, or like, Heroes of the Storm
On
or something.
in 720p, you reckon?
Oh no, 1080p for sure. Like,
Wow.
yeah, absolutely. I think it'll be fine. But like, it just seems odd that because it's very cheap, but it seems odd. The 3
So
generation
cheap.
old GPU is super popular on Amazon right now. Like it's crazy.
Yeah,
And
it's been
look at the price for us, $250 for a GPU. I remember when I was in New Zealand
wow.
and I bought a 460 for $400. Like a
460.
460, yeah.
Yeah, that's going way
Yeah,
back.
but the price, right? The price has been,
Yeah.
I mean, back then, like today, if you buy a 3060, it's like $800.
Yeah.
So how is it that I bought it, what was it? Sorry, a 460. Yeah, 460. That was
Yeah, yeah, 460.
before the 580, before the 600 series.
Oh, wow, yeah. And then 600 series, then
Yeah,
it went what, 7,
seven.
8, 9, oh my God, yeah, that's so long ago. Wow.
But it was only $400, and that's New Zealand dollars, and it was like at the time it was quite fairly new, and I was like, wow, I got a good deal. Blah blah. I was really impressed. I bought it from some New Zealand PC store. I can't remember. I think Extreme PC or
Mm.
something back over there in Auckland. But yeah, I mean, looking at the prices now for $250, a 30, like a 1050 Ti, it just seems so weird because it's not new. It's not current gen. It's old.
Yeah.
Actually,
But you know
yeah.
what? When there's nothing on the market, they can do what they want.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. Well, that's actually very scary, isn't it? Um,
Yes.
this whole lack of stock is helping them clear out old stock. Like those 2060s are old stock. They're just sitting they were gathering dust until this. This has like saved
Absolutely.
them. They saved them like money. Um,
Yeah.
you know what I found out today? Actually,
Yeah,
this is
what?
big. I think this is big. I think we need to mention it.
Okay.
So the DLSS, right? DLSS from Nvidia
Yeah.
has become a plugin that you can just enable when using Unreal Engine. You
Right.
don't have to. It's baked into the engine now. So any games designed with Unreal Engine now, you can just turn. It's a switch. It's a switch.
That's
Nvidia
pretty
hasn't
cool.
locked it down behind like a paywall. They haven't made it
Yeah.
you know how they used to go, oh, Nvidia Hairworks. You know why that didn't take off? Because they locked it down. You had to have a license agreement, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, the second that you like put a patent on it and lock it down,
Yeah,
it's so this is why they probably unlocked the whole G-Sync thing, right?
correct. Well, that took a while, but yes, they had to because now these are
Yeah.
the only things that differentiate themselves. And if they put it behind a paywall, they stop the adoption rate, right? So
Yeah.
companies won't want to work with Nvidia because oh, why should we pay you guys for this when AMD's got an equivalent or a little bit equivalent, and it works fine.
You know what? You're making a really good point here, and this is kind of carrying over to all these other topics as well, and the other things that we've seen that have been happening as well in the gaming industry specifically. Like you have Sony, like with one of our topics here, like MLB The Show, for instance, right?
All right, let
That,
me show that. Hang on. Yeah, go on. Sorry, go on.
yeah.
Yeah.
So MLB The Show was an exclusive game for the PlayStation. But as of, I think, a year ago or so, they announced that this will be also available on Xbox. So
Oh,
it's like opening the doors to other platforms. And, because, okay, on one hand, they want all of their customers to be on their own platform. But now they realize actually there's a better business opportunity to actually expand because it seems to be like a, kind of like a third party like-ish title that would do really well on other platforms.
yeah.
So I guess this is them like testing the waters as well because Sony did that with putting Horizon Zero Dawn and Death Stranding on PC, and they realized, hey, we got quite a few sales by doing that. Let's try some of our other games. And then I think Xbox is maybe thinking in that mind frame as well. They're like, hey, why don't we're buying all these exclusives, but what if we make them like timed exclusives and then we can double our cash flow as
Yeah.
well. So maybe the future is like sharing everything in a
Well,
way
yeah,
because you
I think
can, yeah.
I completely agree. That's such
Mm.
a good point, and that's probably, you know what? You know how they always lose money on their consoles? They could potentially stop doing that. They could build a console, sure, but when they create these great games and have twice the amount of people who buy, they have the Xbox crowd and the Sony crowd potentially to buy. And the only difference is going to be like controller or performance. And at this stage, it's like a PC anyway.
Yeah, this is one of the beauties of being a third-party developer and also one of the challenges as well because now I'm developing for everything, but I'm getting money from everything. So it's
Yeah.
this double-edged sword. And I think maybe because putting it on Xbox and PlayStation is a lot more safer than maybe putting it on PC.
Yeah,
I mean, as well,
PC,
or on PC. Yeah.
PC is a bit of a open game because it's a lot of work to get it working on a lot of PCs. Like every PC configuration is different. And I know Microsoft is trying with DirectX and a lot of the APIs there, trying to bring it closer to the metal, like make the system run better. But the amount of work that developers have to do is significant to run it well on a PC.
Absolutely. So yeah, and just going off onto the next topic, which is also PlayStation related, I thought we just cover that too, which is the Ratchet and Clank actually got a release date. Very excited for the Rift Apart title on PlayStation 5, June 11th. Now, Patrick, question for you, my friend. Do you think this title will get delayed?
You know what? June 11th is still a little while away. It looked playable. Well, see, after Cyberpunk, I am so jaded by everything now. Like,
I am
I
too.
thought,
I think society is as a whole.
we all believe that out of all the companies, they could deliver something not buggy. And not to say it was it was pretty bad on console, but I had a pretty good time. 60 hours, I think 65 hours. I still haven't finished it. But, if they can't do it, can Sony? I think so. I mean, Sony has proven they can do a lot in a short time, and they can also do a lot in a long time. So, what's that Part 2 game, whatever it's called?
Oh, The Last of Us Part 2?
That's a game that looked fantastic, played really well, had no bugs, and it was just really well done. Great.
Yeah, and it was delayed. It was delayed once.
Yeah,
but
I expect a delay. I expect 2
You
months.
expect a delay?
1 or 2 months. Yeah. I'm gonna say
This
it.
is interesting because I was thinking about these guys and if they could delay, right? I just thought about their history. So the last two titles being the Spider-Man games, right? They had Miles Morales before this in Christmas of 2020. And then before that, they had Spider-Man at around September 2018. Now, both of those games came out when they said they would come out, which was interesting. So either these guys are really disciplined, maybe they have a really good workflow. I don't know if there's much crunch. I didn't hear much about it, but I think it shows a lot when Sony decides to purchase them. When it shows that they put $250 million on the line because, hey, these guys are professional, these guys are well organized, these guys have shown to deliver. So maybe we won't get a delay.
Insomniac has had a history of really good, good performance, and they haven't overpromised with this game. Like, what you're getting. Like Ratchet and Clank, what you're getting. It's an existing IP. That's why Sony is more than happy to throw down that much money, because they're not buying they're not buying something new that's going to potentially change the world. Like it's not a new IP. It's going to sell well. It's going to sell beyond the budget, whatever they spent. That's a guarantee. The question is how much beyond it is it going to be a huge success? It's going to be a success, but it's just one of the things you expect from a game that's been running for so long. So it's just. I think it's an easy choice for them to do that.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. I think they are choosing that very safe pathway. I mean, they delivered Spider-Man because the first one delivered so well. They're choosing to make Ratchet and Clank because the first one also delivered really well.
Yeah.
And then for the title after this, we know that they're working on the true sequel to Spider-Man once again. So they're playing it safe. And I think that is a smart move in the early life cycle of the console when they want to get that bank coming in. But I just wonder, will they actually branch out to a new IP? Will Sony be like, you know what? Here's the creative reins. You made like 2 or 3 games, that really made us some cash.
Yeah.
Now make something new. create whatever you want. Or maybe they're already going through this concept art and ideas, and they're passing it through to Sony. Be like, hey, what do you think of this? What do
Yeah.
you think of that? Yeah.
Oh, look, if these companies do not have something in the back pocket as the next project, they're in trouble, right? Each company
Yeah.
should be developing at these stages where you've got your team working on the main project of this project. Then
Yeah.
you're moving people off to the next project to start the groundwork and work out what's good that way. So then when this one finishes, all you have to you leave a small team to do a little bit of, patching and fixing and whatever, and you've got that whole rest of the team to ramp up on the rest. But they don't have to start from scratch. You've got this leadway. And, Cyberpunk did that. Like, they were working on Cyberpunk when Witcher 3 was announced. Like, they had the groundwork for it. Like, they were planning it out. And that's why a lot of people are upset how long it took and how bad it is, comparably. Yogi Bear says Half-Life 3, of course.
Half-Life 3. But you know what? What's his name?
Gabe Newell.
Gabe Newell. Gavin.
Gaben,
I keep calling him Gavin. Gabe Newell. He did say that they're looking at creating more games, more
Correct.
Steam games? Steam games.
Yes.
Right?
They've lost,
Yeah.
I mean, they've lost that little spark, I think. They've gone definitely into like a technology company that has a service, like a SaaS product, like software as a service, which is a platform like Steam. And Steam's big enough for that. Like, it's not going to fail, even though there's GOG, even though there's, EA Games version 1. There's heaps of launchers, but Steam is still got the audience, and the audience is continuously growing. Actually, interestingly enough, he did say in an interview that he's keen to move his company into New Zealand. He says he's loved New Zealand so much, being in lockdown over there, that he's keen to move everybody there.
Oh my God, imagine Steam in New Zealand. Holy smokes.
Dude, I think the New Zealand government should bend over backwards to get that company over there.
They'd be like rolling out the red carpet. Yes, sir. Let me trim your beard, sir.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's like, a wizard does not trim his beard.
I know. He'd be like the real life Gandalf in where he belongs. And,
Absolutely. And apparently there's people at his office that have said that are keen to do so. So I think it'll be really interesting. Just Ethnic has got another question. Says, have you guys played Half-Life Alex?
Oh, well, that's the thing. That's because that game was so successful, that's why they're thinking about developing more games on their platform. But you've played it, haven't you? Tell us about it.
I think Half-Life Alex, forget about Half-Life, right? Just forget about the history of Half-Life. That just gives it the marketing, right? The marketing push.
Right.
But if you ever wondered if there is a reason for you to go spend $800 to $1,000 on a VR set, and you're wondering what's the game to play. Like, when I bought a PlayStation 2, it was Grand Theft Auto, right? When I bought PlayStation 3, it was again Grand Theft Auto, and actually 4 was also probably Grand Theft. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's this one game that you know when you buy, you're just gonna enjoy. Half-Life Alex is that game for VR. All the other games are just tech demos. Finally, a AAA company did something right, and they built a game that is fun. It's got a fantastic story, and it's set in the Half-Life universe, so people are familiar with it. So it felt easy to get into. It plays amazingly. The mechanics are fun. And the things you can do are absolutely a blast, but they don't get repetitive because it's just so interchanging, and it looks great, and the graphics are fantastic. I can't talk highly enough of the game. I still haven't finished it, and I've been doing this one corridor where I've been trying to sneak up and put bombs on the back of these people, and I've just been like sneaking around and putting bombs on them. It's so fun, and you just sort of fluff around with it, but the story is really really good. Since rebuilding this computer, I've had to remove the cables and stuff, so I'm starting to feel like I should get it back into it.
Get the VR.
Big thumbs up for me. Really, really good game.
That is awesome. See, like, the way you're kind of selling it, because every game that I have played on VR has been pretty much felt like a tech demo. Like, it hasn't really drawn me in. I'll be like, oh, this is a cool concept, play around with it for 5 or 10 minutes. But I've never really experienced anything that's immersed me, and maybe that could be it, something like a Half-Life game.
Ethnic says, "What VR headset am I using?" So, one recommendation I have for people, you don't need to buy the latest and greatest because the main difference is like clarity of the screen. But if you're in a really good game, you forget about that really quickly. So I have the classic Vive, like the first Vive, but I have
Yeah.
bought the wireless extension to it. So I'm completely wire free, and I've got a little battery pack, and that's made the going wireless is better than having a high definition field of view. That's my view of it. What I have no reason to even upgrade. Like there's no reason for me to upgrade that piece of hardware because it's so good. It does 80% of what I need, and 20% I can deal with.
That's fantastic, man. Wow. That's really good. Also, got a question from Ethnic regarding God of War 2. Is it meant to come out this year? Well, that is what we were told in an announcement a long time ago, or maybe not that long ago, but
Mm.
yeah, that 2021 is the year for God of War 2. But we have not seen any gameplay. We have not even got a cinematic trailer yet. We are in February right now, and we know a launch date we usually get somewhere between 4 to 6 months.
Oh right, wow.
So I think if we don't see anything concrete by around June, then I think it's not coming out this year.
Right.
Yeah, I don't have faith. And I just think there's so many titles that they have still yet to release that they've already shown us. They might not need to release it this year. Yeah.
Look, I think overall um it's a weird one because God of War is again it's a big game. There's also high
Yeah.
expectations, right? So if they're not ready with it, and Sony's really good at the QA, right? They're like really good at making sure their games come up, perfect. So
Yeah, pristine.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're just holding it off. And my worry is that right now, actually, there's two things, right? My worry is there's not that many games on PlayStation 5. That's one worry I have for Sony. On the other hand, it's not like you can buy a PlayStation 5 anyway, so it's not like you should be worried about how many games there are. First, try and get the console. So there's this weird balance, right? Of like, is it should I buy the console? Well, yes, because it feels like it's really rare. But is there any games to play? Yeah, yes and no.
Yeah, there's a few. I mean, well, that's the thing, right? Like, it's a few. And if any of these really stick out to you like gems, then I guess, yeah, it's great to have it because you get to experience those particular gems. But you know what? I'm playing Days Gone on the
Okay, how is
PS5.
that?
Oh my God, it's so good. It's that 60 FPS, that crystal clear 4K. It is a completely different experience, different game. I'm loving Days Gone. I never actually finished it, so I started from scratch.
Oh,
Maybe
on the
like 20,
PlayStation 5.
20, 30, yeah, on the PS5, 20 or 30 hours in. This is like a 2019 game for the PS4, and I know that the PS4 had quite a few bumps on the road with this
Sure.
game. You're driving on this motorbike, therefore the mechanical drive was just not able to keep up with the world around you, the open world. So you'd have like tree trunks on the side of the road just kind of like pop up, or like a
Right.
car, and you'd like accidentally crash into it. Or because there's a lot of physics happening in this game, there's a lot of bodies. Like you get chased by a horde, for instance, which is this huge group of zombies, like
Yeah.
up to 500 or something. It's insane, and it gets your heart racing and your adrenaline going because you're like, oh my god, how do I resolve this situation, right? And because there's so many things happening on screen, you might get some frame drops or issues on a PS4, but PS5, goddamn, it's just that solid 60 FPS, intense action.
So do you think part of the reason the PlayStation 5s are selling right now is because people just want to experience these PS4 games in much better performance?
Absolutely. Like if you haven't played these PS4 games, this is an absolute treat. And it's a treat for me because like I said, I
Right.
got maybe halfway through Days Gone, so I'm replaying it. And also I maybe played for like 5 or 10 hours on God of War. So now playing this in 60 FPS and 4K, hot damn, like it'd just be amazing. And JMO said also he's hyped for God of War 2 because he played through the first one. I'm guessing he's doing a playthrough through the first one, which is
I still
huge
haven't
game.
I still haven't opened the box of my one. I think I should give it a go because I originally played it on PlayStation 2, like the original old one. PlayStation 2 or yeah, I think it was PlayStation 2, right?
Which one are you
Three.
talking about? God of War 3?
No, no,
Oh, God of
God
War
of War
3 was on
1.
PS3.
No,
Oh, God of War
first one.
1.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
That's
classic. I think that
that's
is
old.
PS2.
Yeah, it is PS2.
Yeah, it's PS2. Yeah. So yeah, that's my PlayStation jam at the moment.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about some Doge
Let's talk
coins?
Doge. Oh, welcome JMO to the Keep the News Coming. Thank you very much, my friend. Yeah, 2005 PlayStation 2. Look at that. Yeah, this is the
Yeah,
one. This is the one I
classic.
played. This is the last one I played. I haven't done anything since. So, let's talk.
My first God of War
Yeah.
was God of War 3.
Oh, really? Did you ever go
Yeah,
back to two
1 and
and
2.
one? Yeah, one and two.
No, I didn't. But then just when I experienced God of War 3, I couldn't put it down. I was like, oh my God, this is
Oh,
like
right.
this intense interactive story. It's full on. And the fight scenes, the boss fight scenes were just so epic, so unreal. And ever since then, I was like, yes, I understand this franchise. This is like top tier. It's God tier.
So is the God of War that I have sitting here, which I'm pretty sure you know which one it is, that's like the newest remake, or is that?
Yeah, it's kind of like a reboot, I want to say, or
Oh,
maybe
okay.
it's like going back to beginnings. The you've got the 2018 God of War, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that must be one. If it's the PS4 one, yeah, then that's the one.
Yeah,
It's
this is
kind
the
of
one
like
I
a
have.
yeah, yeah. So this is the one that got Game of the Year from a lot of reviewers. Got like 10 out of 10s across the board. I think IGN gave it a 10 out of 10 and put it as a Game of the Year for them. Uh, you know, Fantastic storytelling, writing, visuals, gameplay, mechanics, just moments, very memorable moments. I just remember this opening scene in the game.
Yeah.
There's this moment, there's this guy called, they call him the stranger, like because we have no idea who he is,
Right.
right? He just rocks up to your door, starts like calling out to you, and then you get caught up in a fight with him.
Oh, right.
And
Wow.
God of War being God, like Kratos being Kratos, he's really powerful.
Yeah.
He just like punches this dude who goes flying like miles away. And then so he goes back inside, and then all of a sudden the guy's like knocking on his door again, and he realizes, oh, this guy's like a demigod like myself.
Oh,
So then
okay.
you get caught up in the most epic boss battle ever. And this is just like the first hour of the game. I was like, God damn, this is so insane. Like what they were capable to do with the hardware that they had, just impressive.
Wow. Okay. Okay. All right. You've sold me on it. I'm gonna give it a go now.
Yeah, man, give it a crank while you're dying from your sickness there.
Yeah. Yeah. Slow death. Oh, I
Slow
know.
death.
I know this actress. Pretty sure we've seen her somewhere. Because they used real people for this, right? Like actors.
Yeah, the guy who does God of War voice, he's the guy from Star Stargate.
Really?
He's the actor from Stargate who has that really deep voice. He's that like African American guy, with the symbol on his
Oh,
forehead.
Christopher Judge. Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Good pick.
Because
He's
he
got a
has like the
fantastic
manliest
voice.
voice, right? Yeah, such a
Yeah.
good voice.
Yeah. This is
So
the
he's
guy I
essentially
remember.
God of War. Yeah,
Wow. Okay. That's brilliant. I did not know that. Oh, there's that
yeah.
chick. Who is she? Where is she from?
I have no idea. Who
Meet
is
the
that?
voice actor of. Maybe it's just a voice actor, but she looks. Oh, maybe they used her face too.
They kind of, yeah, did some motion capture there, I think.
Okay. Maybe I'm mistaking her for
Yeah.
somebody else.
Mm.
Anyway.
Do we
Okay.
talk Doge?
Let's talk Doge.
Doge
Doge.
coins.
Ethnic says, wait, you haven't played 2018 God of War, Pat? It's an all-time great. How they reinvented the franchise with intricate yet intuitive combat was amazing. Yeah, I think I have to give it a go, Ethnic. I probably feel
Yeah.
very bad not doing that. Oh, doing that. Oh, look, I've got Trump's wall cancelled. Do you want to talk about that?
Oh, let's do it.
I clicked on
Trump's
the wrong
wall
tab.
cancel. So
Um,
as we know, Trump had major plans to create a wall between the US and Mexico, right? So this wall was going to, let me just see see here. So essentially, the total length of the continental border between them is around close to 2,000 miles, which is 3,145 kilometers to be exact, right?
Jesus. This is
Now,
obviously because they haven't heard of ladders, right?
ladders? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they hadn't heard of ladders. Yes, just make it a bit more difficult for them, I guess. As they got to carry a ladder for hundreds of kilometers before they can get up to the wall. So there's a big portion of that continental border where there's actually nothing, right?
Right. Like no wall.
No wall. Yeah. So let me just tell you. So that distance is.
But you're telling me that people can't just squeeze through that? Or is that, am I thinking?
It's look, it's quite a tall wall. Like the wall that he had in mind. So portions. Okay, so it varied in height, right? Throughout the whole continental border. It was between 5 and 9 meters tall. So it's quite tall.
Yeah, that's
But
substantial.
wow, look, there's kids like squeezing through that thing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like if you want to send your kids,
Hey
kids, can you go get
actual wall?
This might be it there, but that looks like it.
Yeah, because I think it's meant to be so you can't squeeze through it. So so the goal was to total funding given for new fencing was about $15 billion, right?
Seriously?
Yeah. A third of which had been given by Congress, while Trump had ordered the rest taken from the military budget. The funding was intended to build a new fencing over 738 miles, which is 1,188 kilometers.
Wow.
At a cost, huge, at a cost of about $20 million per mile. Per mile, yeah. So this would cover a little more than half of the approximately. So essentially 2,100 kilometers or 1,300 miles had no fencing. And they were going to cover about half of that with that wall, which is going to cost about $15 billion. Now, what this article is talking about, the Trump's wall #canceled, is essentially Biden going, hey, the money that we were supposed to spend on the remaining project, we're going to withdraw that, we're going to cancel that project, and we're going to put that money elsewhere, right?
This is so stupid. So what you're telling me is that the cost was so immense that when they started, they couldn't even cover all of it anyway.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, the whole project would have been like 30 or 40 billion dollars, and to get justification to take that out of the various departments in the US was just going to be an absolute nightmare. It's just not going to happen.
Okay, look, I'm going to look at it on another way. You know how Mr. H, and by Mr. H, I mean the guy who invaded our countries?
Mr. H. Oh, yes, Mr. H.
Mr.
Yes,
H.
yes,
We're
Mr.
not going to say the name.
Of course, I picked up on that.
He did the what did he do? He did the highway, the highways as a way to like.
Oh yeah. What's it called? The Autobahn.
Yeah. That's productive. Like, forget who he is, but that's productive because people can use the roads. This is useless, and this Trump is pretty much acting like him. Like there's no value to it because it's not finished, and it never would have been finished. It would have wow. I didn't think it was this bad. I actually forgot about the wall thing. I forgot that they even started, and I forgot that it even had been substantially built. I thought it was like a joke. I thought these were the photos of them choosing which wall would be best. Okay, guys, please jump over this wall and see what happens. And now try and jump over this wall.
Testing out the walls. How about this paper one? Is that effective?
This is, I mean, this is technically this is probably like a convention of wall builders. So they get together and they're like, okay, guys, we're going to test all the walls. And they got a couple of army brats and they're like, okay, get over this wall, get over this wall, get over this wall. And then they'll be throwing I don't know, a truck at it or something, or like testing it out. I think that's what it is. I think that's what they did. They're like, look, they're the wall builders were submitting a...
I think so, yeah. It was a wall builder convention. It was like an E3 for wall builders.
All right,
Yeah,
welcome
they'd
to
have like
E3
their
for
own
wall builders.
yeah, they'd have like their own trailers for walls. It's like a wall coming to a border near you.
Vote now for your favorite wall.
Oh my God, yeah.
I
Jeez,
mean,
can
look,
you
this
just
is
imagine
just
rocking up?
so stupid. And
So many concepts.
this one
Oh, you know
here,
the one with the barrel on top?
yeah.
Yeah. That's there's a prison that I worked at that they had that barrel thing on top.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, because it's hard to climb it. Like, there's nowhere to grip. So you get to the top and you can't,
Yeah.
you know. I've seen those with cats. They put like rolly things. So when a cat jumps onto a fence and tries to catch at the top, it just gets this rolly thing. It's like, I know why we're talking about walls, but stop cat from
Stop cats.
leaving yard. I don't know. I don't know if that's gonna get there. Can you? I think there's this like rolly thing. Yes, that's it there. This is it. Yeah, that's it there. So they jump
What is
up,
that?
right? And it's
Yeah.
it's a pin, like a rolling pin with
Oh, so
little
they can't actually get over it.
yeah, they grab at it and it just spins and they just fall.
This is genius.
This
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 is
is
like evil genius.
like for this example here, right? When you have this cage thing, like that's not really going to
Yeah,
work. They can get out of that. Cats are smart. Like cats can
they're
do
quite
this.
smart.
Um,
But it's something so basic, right? And it's like the ultimate weapon against cat.
it is. It is. Like oh, these things. Like the cat can climb. I've had a cat. I've had two cats, and they can climb this sort of crap. It's just
Oh
incredible.
wow. Yeah.
Pog says sounds like a new game idea. Wall Simulator 2023.
Yeah. You could like it just be like you build a wall and you see if like these little like Mexican people can cross it or not.
um, Yogi Bear says, "How much money is Biden spending on 11 million slavers he's allowing in?" Oh, I'm not sure. We're not too across the political side. JMO says someone could just bury ladders all along various points in the fence, or just a few tunnels. Yeah, like I don't know how deep it that wall thing goes, but it doesn't look too deep. Like you could probably, if you dig a few days,
Yeah.
you'll get underneath it. Oh, look, this one's getting
The
knocked over. The wind knocked it over. Strong winds. Yeah, there you go. That wasn't even a joke. Strong winds have pushed over the wall. Look.
Oh my God. Oh, that's not good.
Like,
Oh, here's another article that came out late last year, right? And
yeah.
it talks about how much new wall Trump has built is up for debate. So it has this. It
Can you
shows
link
you
me so I
this.
can share the screen?
Yeah, hold on. Let me just. Un momento. There you go. Okay, so this gives you a little bit of a diagram of what was done, right? So they had 350 miles of replacement or secondary barrier. They had 220 miles of new and replacement primary and second barrier, and they had 157 miles of new primary and secondary barrier, which was under pre-construction. So they actually built 350 miles. Under construction was 220 miles, and 157 was pre-construction. So probably
Halfway there.
600 miles they got. Yeah, they got to like 600 miles.
He would have
So
finished it if he stayed in power. He would have finished this 100%, right?
I think
Like,
so.
yeah.
Yeah. And then the country would be like in mad poverty, and people would be trying to get into Mexico, like from US. They're like, no, we need to go the other way now.
Oh God. Now,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. I played a lot of Age of Empires. Okay.
Yes.
And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, Age of Empires is fantastic. Highly support that
Great
game.
game.
Do you remember when you built a wall?
Yeah.
You know what they did? They just went to the
Who
end
did?
of the wall, right near the sea,
Yeah.
and just stepped around it.
Oh yeah.
So,
That's
am I
what
missing
the
something here?
Mexicans are doing. Yeah, they're just stepping around the wall. Well, there's still about, close to 1,000 kilometers of no wall. So that's probably where the Mexicans will be trying to go. And I'm sure there's probably US is going to be sending most of their fleet or vehicles or border patrol to cover those weaknesses.
Sure.
But it's just, wow, I can't believe they have so many problems, right? I was reading about how many drugs get across the border. Well, no, it was about how many drugs get seized.
Ah, okay, go on.
And it was about, and this is not including marijuana, it was about 60 tons worth.
Wow.
And this was it was a combination of the hard stuff, right? 60
Right.
tons.
that
That
gets
gets seized.
seized.
Yeah, and that's only about like 5 to 10%. So there's like hundreds and hundreds of tons of drugs that cross the border,
That's
which I can
incredible.
kind of understand why why they're trying to like that. This would be a big money saving thing for him
Yeah.
in the future because it's like, oh, we're no longer losing hundreds of millions of billions of dollars to narcotics.
But then couldn't you just walk up to this bollard thing and just be like, here you go. You got that one. You get this one. Just
You mean just pass it across the wall, through
just
the
pass
wall?
it across the wall. Yeah.
I'm sure it's a bit more complicated than that, but maybe. Yeah, you never know. You never know.
And I don't know why Trump's barrier is mostly bollard fencing, but isn't that how it's meant to be, or is it supposed to be like a flat wall that you can't get through?
I think it's supposed to be so you can't get through. Yeah.
I love this
I
is
love
just
it.
so stupid.
It's like this is the wall, and then right next to it is no wall. There you can see the difference. Yeah. Thank you, Trump. Thank you.
It's like coming to, like show and tell at high school, or like, no, sorry, like primary school, and be like, this is a picture of me on holiday. This is my mom. This is my dad. And that's
this
me.
is my wall.
and this is the wall we took a picture next to. Like, I know people like I took a picture of the Berlin Wall when I was in Berlin, but you know, I was like, wow, that's the Berlin Wall that did things, and it was really bad, and like,
It separated the East from the West. Yeah.
yeah, like this was a thing, but I didn't stand next to it and be like, and this is the wall.
Yeah,
But,
this is me in a wall.
So
speaking of,
sorry, just one last
yeah.
question. So how much has Biden taken back?
Oh, right. How much he's taking back? I think he's recuperated a few $1 billion. Let's see. Where is that? Where's Mr. Biden? That was in the previous article, wasn't it? Trump wall is canceled. Because I think there was a lot more money that was going to go into it. Trump then renewed the emergency proclamation in February 2020, diverting an additional 3.8 billion of American taxpayers' money to project that both candidate and President Trump promised would be paid for by Mexico. Yada yada yada. Biden first made his intentions on the matter known via proclamation on his first day as president earlier this month. Biden bucked another of Trump's anti-immigration policies by creating a task force to reunite children who were separated from their parents.
Jeez.
Don't think it actually goes into it.
I was going to say, like Flint water, the water problem in the town of Flint?
Yeah.
That still isn't sorted. And these emergency funds, like the National Emergency Funds that the DOD, Department of Defense, would have used for these emergencies, well, should have gone there first of all, not to a war. But it just boggles my mind that there's like bad things happening in their country, but they're like, we're going to build a wall. Like this is what we're going to do, guys. We're building a wall.
Are you serious about the Flint water crisis? It's still an issue?
Pretty sure it is.
Oh my God.
Like, I know we're going really off topic here, but
yeah, I know. It's like 6,000 to 12,000 children were exposed to lead.
Yeah, Legionnaires' disease, Legionnaires' disease outbreak.
Yeah,
so lead,
Legionnaires, 79 lawsuits.
Yeah,
that's insane.
One person got convicted. Corrine Miller, a year of probation, 300 hours of community service, and a fine of $1,200. I did 20 kilometers over the speed limit, and I got a $1,000 fine. And she poisoned 6,000 to 12,000 children. And she got.
Did she, or was she probably like a cleaner for the company, and she just got
probably a scapegoat? Like I just watched. I watched The Big Short the other day. Again, I watched
great movie,
fantastic movie. Which we're going to talk about coins in a minute. But
yeah, perfect transition.
Yeah, and in there, only one person went to jail. One person out of the banks who defrauded the American people.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that conclusion. Yeah, it was one person. And there was so many people involved in it in the really complex, convoluted way that they mixed the funds, right? They had the A, Bs, and Cs and all of that. Oh, it was like evil genius at work.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think it's still, this is willful neglect. I think it's still ongoing, maybe because I think maybe that's what I read, that it was still ongoing in regards to like criminal charges and stuff.
Yeah. Wow. Insane. So speaking of coins,
Let's do
Dogecoin?
coins.
Dogecoin.
Dogecoins.
Yes.
Can
Confused
you
about Dogecoin?
can you open up your Dogecoin repository and tell me how much coin you have of Doge? I want to
How
compare
much
because
Doge?
we bought it at
Okay.
the same time. We bought Dogecoin at the same time to have a bit of a giggle because it's a meme coin and
It's
it's
the
pretty
memes.
hilarious. And of course because it's a hype train.
The things
So
we do for the memes.
the things we do for memes. I'm just logging into my
Yeah, me too.
Coinbase,
My coin
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 Spot.
spot account.
Ethnic says sounds like Lance Armstrong taking the fall for the other dopers. Yeah, well, he was number one and he profited the most, but I mean, it was rampant throughout the thing. I think what's the movie called? Icarus. I think Icarus is the documentary about that. I should check it out. It's really good. And then JMO says just like one person got busted for that. Yeah. Oh, thank you, JMO. Sorry. Yeah, that is what we were talking about. And Yogi Bear says the Flint money was provided by Trump. The Democrats were in power and used the money for other things, even though it was allocated specifically to fix that. Holy crap. So they were given.
What's all the
That's just, I mean, that's pretty blatant, like corruption in the government there. But whatever. So Dogecoin, I bought $220 of it and it's only worth $178 right now.
How many coins do you have?
2036.
2,000. I've
Yeah.
got 9,361 Doge coins that are currently plummeting as we speak.
They're worthless. They're worthless. It's like, I mean, they're what, 0.001 cent or something stupid?
Oh, they're like 9 cents or 8 cents a coin
Yeah.
or something like that.
But,
So,
sorry,
yes,
go on. I was just going to say, I've been mining Bitcoin as of late
yes, it's
on my
good.
3090.
The
And
only coin you should be mining.
yeah, and I mean, like I get about it's about $60 maybe every 3 days, but it just means the computer's running like nonstop and it's like super hot and it's just I don't think I'm going to continue doing, but it's really interesting to see that you can, yeah, I mean if you've got the hardware you can generate a bit of money, like that's really interesting.
Yeah, that makes sense what you're saying because you're essentially you're burning your parts down and you don't have a cheap computer. So if you keep it running for like a month and it breaks down, that's thousands of dollars down the drain.
It's not worthwhile. That's why
Yeah,
the 3060 Ti right now is it's just the thing to get to mine. You
yeah.
get four of those, you'll be making I think it's $936 a month after paying like $250 in power.
Yeah, that's all right.
I mean, that's
That's not bad.
worthwhile. I mean, the investment is substantial, so it takes like almost a year to pay it all back in Australian money. But as long as it survives a year and you don't have to do any maintenance and you just keep it running, at this rate with what Bitcoin being 60K Australian per coin?
Yeah, it's insane. And it's only going to go up. It's going to be worth, like I said before, like $400,000 a coin in the next 5 to 10 years. It's going to be extremely expensive. Then other coins will eventually get picked up as well. What's interesting is that what's unique, probably I should say, about the Bitcoin is how many decimal places it has. Because when we have a dollar, we have the two decimal places for the cents, right?
Right.
Whereas in Bitcoin, we have what is it, like 8 decimal points
Oh, wow.
per coin? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 decimal points, right?
Right.
And that 21 million Bitcoin that there will be mined by the year 2140, that's when the Bitcoin is supposed to be fully mined at the rate that we're going now, or I think at the estimated rate in the future. So that works out to be $2.1 quadrillion
Right.
if you include all those decimals. So let's say I have like 1/10 millionth of a coin or something. That will probably be treated like a dollar in itself.
Wow.
So yeah, so if you have like one Bitcoin, that's gonna be worth like $10 million, for instance, right?
Holy shit.
In the future. Yeah. So, but we're talking years and years and years into the future, and assuming that there's going to be a lot of contracts that will be picked up for the coin. And this is the speculation about Dogecoin, right? Because Dogecoin is essentially, it's kind of useless in a
It's
way.
quick. It's
And
quick transactions. It's very quick
yeah,
transactions.
it's fast transactions,
Yeah.
but the problem is about purchasing things with Dogecoin, right? Because the only thing I think I've mentioned before, it's used in like the porn industry and in gambling and in like the up votes and down votes, which is really weird. It's like a vote currency,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it doesn't really serve much of a purpose unless they get, you get like car companies that are saying, hey, we are taking Dogecoins.
Yeah.
Or if you get other businesses that start taking it up, then all of a sudden Dogecoin starts to look like a great option. And people are going to either mine it or they're going to, acquire it by buying it.
Yeah.
So that's the only way that you can see the value lift. But what's interesting is that the capital on it at the moment, it's like around 10 billion US dollars, which is obscene, which makes it one of the top 10 to top 20 coins, digital coins of the list. And will it stick to that? I don't know.
Could have
But
bought.
it's
We could
yeah,
have
it's
bought here at this level and only paid 6 cents per coin.
yeah, well that's the thing. He's got that huge spike. And just so the public knows, be ready for this coin to, hit as low as back down to 1 cent. So
Yeah.
it has the potential to lose a lot of momentum. Does it have any future prospects? Well, that really depends on the actual developers themselves. If they're looking at acquiring various contracts, if they're looking at expanding, the Dogecoin, it just depends how savvy they are moving forward,
There's a
and
lot
what
of
they're going to do with
coins.
the capital.
There's a
Yeah,
lot of coins, and every one of them has something, different to offer, but some of them don't offer anything.
yeah,
Like, I'm actually surprised. So I used to mine Ethereum like a year ago or so, and
yeah.
I remember this being at like $800, and it's already doubled. XRP on its way up as per usual. Stellar, that's a new entrant for me. Litecoin's been around for ages. I think Litecoin really took off. It was supposed to be the silver to Bitcoin's gold. Um,
Oh, yeah.
but I don't know. I don't think it has done that well. But I mean, the returns are pretty good. There's Bitcoin Cash, Dogecoins drop. That's what it is. Some of them will look through $20 a coin. Like, how are these? Like, I mean, it's impressive how they're valued. Monero's been crazy going up. It's been going up for ages. Um, yeah, BitTorrent, it's gone up. It's good. Um,
It's fascinating because it's a really wild place because when you step away from the actual real world currencies, which are pretty boring,
yeah,
right? You get like 1%, 2% movements each day. Whereas over here, you get like hundreds of percents on some of these wild coins,
correct.
like where a lot of money can be made and lost. So it's like this really wild casino.
You know what?
Uh,
What
yeah,
would you give to be like day dot on, the stock market the first time it opened? Like, if you put any money into the stock market the day it opened,
yeah,
you know, at this stage you would be, filthy rich after that amount of time, sure. But, is this a start of the digital stock market, the one that people like you and me, average people, not stockbrokers, not hedge funds, that's where they invest, and then companies are going to be like, oh shit, people are over there. We better start accepting coins because people don't seem to want to use this. All the money's tied up there. Let's say if I'm a business and I'm selling a product, and my millennial customers are most of their money is in these coins, right?
yeah.
Why shouldn't I accept those coins to make it easier for them to pay me?
Yeah, well, I guess the coin's got to be tied up in something. And the big issue right now that we're facing, and we will be for years to come, is that the coins are bypassing banks, right? So they're a huge threat to the current financial institutions that we got around the world. A huge, huge threat, right? These financial institutions have no way, means to really use that money to uh, profit their own business, right?
Correct.
And so that's harming them, and it's most likely tying in with the governments as well. That's in a way harming them as well. So there's probably going to be some strict policies and legislations that will be tied up with the coins. So if there's a lot more of that going on, and if there's a lot more use of these coins, then yeah, I could see a lot of investors moving down that way. But because the fundamentals look so poor at this point in time, there's really just a lot of the money will stay on the stock market. The smart money will really stay on the stock market. And I guess this is a branch or like an offset of the stock market
Right, a
more than
fork.
anything else. So
Yeah.
it's a fork. Like it's still the stock market, but it's a digital currency per se. So
But I'll give you an example. Like, I know
yeah,
Dogecoin isn't connected to anything particular. Bitcoin is connected to mining, to the mining. But the reason it's gone up in value is because companies have, Tesla has bought in. They're going to be accepting Bitcoins for cars now
yes,
in the near future, and they've said that that's the plan. The question is, I think you're right in one sense, but I don't think you realize how quickly things can change and move. All the technology companies that are at the top of the funnel in regards to valuation, right? They're the ones who will. I mean, Tesla's the first because Elon Musk is a meme himself, but all these companies are the technology companies are going to go down this route because they don't want to be plagued by banks. They've got so much money that it's a problem for them. It's actually a problem for them because at some point their money isn't backed by anything. The problem, like for example, most in America, right? This is because I just read it recently. In America, if you have $250,000 in your bank account and the bank collapses, you're insured by the country you're in.
yes,
The National Treasury goes up to 250,000 per person per account, right? Or per account, it is. So there's literally companies who go around organizing your money into different accounts. So if any of these banks collapse, you will get the insurance payout on that money. But then when you've got a whole ton of money, who backs up that money, right? That goes to the, I think it's the or it could be the treasury. Anyway, it's just another entity. That entity backs it up with lots and lots of money, and they hold all that money, and they're backed by the governments and whatnot. So almost like bonds, right? But you've got companies like Apple where they have to offshore their money somewhere else because it's safer that way, and they have to, that's why they buy assets. That's why they reinvest, because they just cannot hold that money. That cash is worthless. So what I'm getting at is these coins are an alternative storage for these companies, to the point where I actually imagine that Tesla is going to make a Tesla coin. Maybe not Tesla.
yeah, that's possible.
Microsoft might make a
Maybe.
Microsoft coin. Because then it's backed by the company. If the company goes up, the coins go up, right? It's going to be their own stock, but in a digital format. And what are they going to make? What are they going to do out of it? They're going to be able to make a whole ton of money. That's what they can do. Because imagine if people invest and they go, oh, we need a bit of money. We can just sell a bit of this liquidity, this stock, right? Because it's not tied to an asset. It's you press a button, you got cash. Like you sell it on a market. So I think these companies are going to move quicker and quicker into accepting Bitcoins. Like Bitcoin is the number one, going to be the one that's going to be accepted the most. Then you've got all these altcoins who are going to be accepted in certain different areas. But the ones who are tied to something like, BitTorrent is tied to like the torrenting scene. And I don't think piracy is going anywhere. I think it's just going to go up and up and up, especially with the amount of like, entertainment distributors like Disney and all that sort of stuff. So I think what's going to happen is a lot of that coin is going to go up because that's the value of torrenting. The more torrenting happens, then, the value goes up. Yeah, anyway, food for thought. I think it's going to move quicker. I guess I'm on the other side of this. I'm also more positive about the future. I want it to go this way because it's better for us. The wealth distribution here is much better than it is on the stock market.
Yeah. Look, yeah, it's interesting. I mean, yeah, like there's two sides of the coin, I suppose. The thing is that a lot of these coins are fiat money, essentially, right?
Sure.
So they're worthless. They're like fake fake inflation, I would say. Just essentially, you'll get to the point where it's like your money's worthless, right? Because you can generate it, it has no value, you can accumulate lots of it. Whereas obviously the Bitcoin makes sense, right? That it holds a value, there's value in it. And there's a reason why there's only a limited amount of money that gets printed in the US, so it maintains its value, right? Only about 5 to 10% is actually cash. So like if you get and this is why, banks don't want you holding your own money, because if you hoard your own money, your physical money, and then there's some sort of a crash, then all of a sudden you become a king because you have a majority of the cash that exists. Yeah. So this is why, banks want it to be centralized. The government wants it to be centralized. And look, Bitcoin could be that as well, because, it's limited. It's limited amount of coin. If you get something like Dogecoin, which is infinite,
correct,
that's you're playing with fiat money. So yeah, I think there's some potential there, but I think also that 99% of the coins out there are going to be wiped out and worthless.
Oh, and absolutely. But again, it's the risk of this sort of scenario, right? It's the risk of being in this game. I think I absolutely agree. It's going to be the coins that have a not basically physical, but a service-like connection to what their value is based on, I think will last a lot longer. I think it'll not only just last a lot longer, but they will be valuable. Like actually, there'll be a reason to buy them.
Yeah.
But even Bitcoin, right? It technically has no value, and the reason it spiked in value is because you can now start using it in places. And
correct.
It has the one thing that I think it has for it is anonymity and not having to deal with banks. I think that's a big thing. I think people are mistrustful of banks. Like generally speaking, banks are, they hold your money, but technically speaking, they're not the most trustworthy institutions. And even in Australia, we've had issues with banks being part of like fraud and stuff and allowing it to happen. Like in America, the GFC, like that was huge. Like banks aren't the be and all good guys here. But having your own Bitcoin stored away in a little wallet at home, not earning interest, but technically it is, because if the market goes up, it goes up. And if it goes down, it goes down. But at the end of the day, you're in control. And I think people like control. And that privacy part, I think, is going to play a really big part. The fact that I can send you money right now, Casper, and you don't know who I am. You just get a receipt. I get a receipt. We just get the numbers. You don't know who I am. I don't know who you are. And the bank can't trace that amount. That's scary for them. That's scary for governments, because it means, people who do bad things.
Exactly. This is a huge fear of mine, and should be for a lot of people who own Bitcoin, is that there's potential for this thing to be outlawed. Because if you can't trace or track transactions, and, this is going to be the number one thing for criminal activity, which it is obviously in a lot of places in the world using Bitcoin, then there is no weapon for the police. There is no means for the police to actually to be as efficient as they could potentially be with, bank transactions and cash and all that kind of stuff. So it could, and especially with the current situation that we're in, this makes more sense for criminal activity, because they can't actually physically money launder cash.
That's right.
Because cash can't be used. Yeah.
Now, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe to actually convert that money into currency, like non-fiat money, as you might call it, you actually have to give people, like, you have to have like a Binance or CoinSpot, whatever it might be, and they take down all your details.
Yes.
So if you take out, hundreds of thousands of dollars, there is a record of it. However, there's no record where the money arrived, like how it got to you, where'd you get it on that wallet. It's just there, and I know that there is a bad side to it. I completely agree. Police would have a hard time, working through that. But I think the negatives do not outweigh the positives of untying yourself away from a bank. It might never replace a bank, because institutions like, jobs and stuff, they're not going to pay you in Bitcoin, because by the end of the year, the value of that Bitcoin is going to be different, right? So they want to pay you in a stable currency. But I don't know. I think I think it's overall it's going to be a positive thing, and I think the fact that some governments and some banks can't see how much money you're holding because it's in Bitcoin, I think that's a good thing. I don't think they should see everything you have, and the fact that I can go in and potentially sell a car for a couple of Bitcoins. If right now, like I could go sell my own car for Bitcoins.
I wouldn't say Bitcoin's plural. You must have a really luxurious car,
Sorry,
man.
like point zero of a Bitcoin, whatever,
Yeah,
whatever it might be.
yeah.
But you get the gist of it, and like
Hmm.
nobody can. Like nobody's gonna check how much I paid. Like there's no transactional like history. Um, but I can get that money out right now through Binance, and it's just Bitcoin. I've invested, it's gone up or whatever. Um, yeah, there is
Yeah.
yeah, Yogi B said there is a ledger. So there is a ledger, but it's in the it's encrypted in the blockchain. I'm pretty sure. I mean, but the ledger doesn't
Yeah.
help. It gives you
Hmm.
the number, like I think the wallet numbers. But if you have a you'd have to
USB
follow.
disk, right? Like if you, because it's data that you can extract and take away from a place, like
Correct.
a legitimate place, like a coin spot,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And then you can then essentially use that to have transactions that cannot be traced to
correct,
you. This
correct.
is why they use this money to, for people smuggling, for hits, for narcotics, you name it, they use it to make transactions that cannot be traced.
Yeah, and that's
Man.
that's a really sad thing, obviously, um,
Hmm.
that's the use of it. But these things get created out of necessity, right? Like these things are created because people wanted something like this, and I mean, sure, some of it is nefarious, but some of it isn't
Yeah.
nefarious, you know. Um, but I still think we need an alternative to the current currency and the current like monetary system, and especially there needs to be a massive restructure with the investment, like the investing side of like the stock market. I think it's not necessarily like um, it doesn't. Yeah, I don't know where I'm going with that. Actually, I'll leave it at that. I don't want to create a stupid thing I said. So
Yeah. You don't want to sound like Trump.
I don't want to sound like Trump, but look, at the end of the day, like, investing is good in the sense of, yeah, I can put some money into like, a stable company that's been around for 40 years. It can, earn me some dividend and whatnot. Great. But at the end of the day, when you have a hedge fund and they can do things like they did with the GameStop stock by just nerfing a company and completely destroying them, I don't think that's fair. I
Yeah,
don't
I
think that's
know. I
playing
don't
by
think
the
that's fair
rules.
as well. You're right, and there's a lot of businesses now, so a lot of financial institutions that are prepared for that kind of stuff now as well. To be like, look, if we see these kind of extraordinary spikes, we're just gonna just stop it right there and then. And that's what like ComSec has done. They've put in an announcement basically, like the CEO is like, I'm not gonna tolerate that. So if they see that happen, they're just gonna cut people short right there and then
Sure.
stop that kind of stuff. And it's a means to actually keep the market stable. And this is why there's a lot of fear with the coins because the pricing is so crazy. But whereas if you have a lot of clear fundamental and sheets of like of profit margins and all that kind of stuff, and it just kind of makes sense to value companies. Whereas right now it can be difficult to value digital currency, which is why a lot of big and smart money is stepping away. And who knows, maybe Elon Musk's move to, as Nathaniel Symes says here, 1.5 billion USD dollars. That could be worth hundreds, maybe trillions of dollars in the future.
Apparently, if they get losses, they're not going to write them off. Sorry, they are going to write them off, but they're not going to write in the profits from it.
That's fascinating. Yeah, they'll be like all of a sudden $1 trillion company. It's like, how did that happen?
Yeah, I don't think they can. I don't think they can put Bitcoin as an asset into their company. I think but they can do it as a loss, like an expense, right?
Yeah.
Yogi Bear says, if the banks are able to deny services to individuals, then I have no problem with Bitcoin existing.
Hmm. If you flip a Bitcoin, is it always heads? Says Yogi Bear.
I don't know, but you know what happens when you flip a Bitcoin?
What
It
happens?
it has a zero, which means off, and hence the stream needs to end.
Ah,
That was
nice.
a
I
far
see what you
stretch.
did there.
I know, but a bit being flipped
Nice.
from 1 to 0, I think that was pretty good.
Very
In my
good.
mind,
Very
it
good.
played out really well. We've been
Yeah, yeah.
we've been also almost going for 1.5 hours, and most of that seemed to be spent on the coin market, which is really cool.
Money talks.
Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed today's show. We did do it a bit longer, as promised from last week. Thank you very much for Casper for jumping in. I appreciate your time,
Well, thank you
my
for
friend.
having me. And thank you for everybody joining.
Make sure to check out his channel, Game with Casper. Can you paste a comment below so people can find you?
Oh, yeah. I'll be like, hello.
Do a comment. If you want to support
It's
us, you can
me.
join the Keep the News Coming, which is, I think it's pinned at the top. Thank you very much for JMO for jumping in. And of course, we'll see you all next week at the same time.
Different place.
Different place. Oh, maybe not the same
Oh,
time.
like different place in the physical world.
Physically, and we might be able to be
Yeah.
together.
Together. Yeah. Where, like, can I, like, yeah, I can join you there.
Digital
Like,
hug. Oh, hang on. You're this way.
like,
I'm this
oh,
way.
yeah, digital hug. Yeah. We can do
Yeah.
like a Dragon Ball Z fusion thing.
Hey.
Yeah, that's right. Create a
Can you
cat
move
or a
to
paspa
Can you move to your left?
to my left.
Keep going to your left. Like, no,
This
right.
way.
Go to your right.
This-
Go to your right.
this
Go to
way.
your right. Yep. Keep going. Keep going.
Oh, we could do like a fusion thing.
Go. You
Hold
gotta
on,
fuse.
hold on.
Half
Hold
my
on.
face. No, you gotta be straight to the camera.
It's
Straight
so
to the
hard
camera.
to do.
No, just. Can you see my screen still?
I can.
Okay.
Whoa.
No, you have to be like closer. This is not working.
Like this.
No.
Hold on. I got this. I got
got it,
this.
you got
I got this.
Other way. Yeah,
I
that's
got
it.
this. Oh.
Stop. Go back a bit.
Ah.
Catch you all later, guys. Have fun. See
All
ya.
right. Peace out. Bye bye.